I'll tell you something, fresh meat. They can give you all the purity seals and training manuals in the sector, but nothing, absolutely nothing, prepares you for the sheer, unadulterated stupidity of the universe. I'm talking about the kind of stupid that transcends logic, physics, and sometimes even the Emperor's will. You know about the Hive World Terra Nova, right? Used to be bustling. Now it's just another footnote in the sector disaster reports. I was there, and I still see that green idiot in my nightmares. The official report called it a greater demon of the unaligned. I called him Trump. It was like the warp had decided to crack a joke, a terrible galaxy-ending joke. The sky over the hive was ripped open by a storm, not the usual kind, but a jagged, screaming tear. And out of that rift stepped a parody, a colossal, muscle-bound grotesque, the color of spoiled synth meat with hair like cheap, wind-whipped gold. He was immense, a brute, a hulk, the legends from old Terra called it. But this one was loud, so unbelievably loud. He didn't talk, not at first. He roared, a sound that rattled the steel under your boots and shook the faith in your soul. And then he started, just smashing. The spires of the High Administratum crushed. The mighty Lehman Russ tanks. He picked one up and tossed it like a child's toy. My guardsmen, good men, standard issue, but brave, they opened fire. Laser fire. The focused might of the Imperial Guard. It just pissed him off. Literally. He'd take a volley and then let out this barking laugh, and the only thing I could make out in his booming guttural voice was this obsession with winning. Always winning. He was a machine of destruction, pure, unfiltered, self-obsessed rage, given flesh by the ruinous powers. And the more we shot him, the bigger, the angrier, and the more winning he became. That's when I got the call. A priority astropathic summons from the sector command. Commissar Cain. Sorry, Commissar Kyle, they stammered. You're our only hope. Get to Terra Nova now. Fine. I packed my bolt pistol, my chainsword, and more importantly, Sergeant Jurgen. I know, the smell alone could gag a Chaos Marine. But there's something about Jurgen, his sheer, staggering ordinariness, his unflappable dedication to melta technology, and his uncanny knack for being where the danger isn't, or where it is, just long enough to not get killed. His non-existent psychic abilities, as I put it in my reports, were oddly useful. We arrived in the middle of the carnage. The sight would have driven a weaker man mad. Smashed hab blocks, bodies everywhere, the stink of ozone and blood mixing with the perpetual reek of Jurgen. I took command of the tattered remnants of the planetary defense forces. They were broken, demoralized. They had tried to fight the demon with brute force, and they had failed spectacularly. That's the thing about demons, and particularly this demon. You can't outmuscle him. You have to outthink him. I spent the next 3 hours poring over the captured vid feeds and Vox transmissions of the Hulk's rampage. It was strangely repetitive. He would destroy something, then look around for applause. He would rant, then wait for an audience. It wasn't just about the smashing, it was about the attention. That was the key. His arrogance, his desperate need for spectacle and validation was his weakness. My plan was unorthodox. I ordered the remaining engineers to clear the largest plaza left intact. And then I had them construct the most ridiculous, vulgar display of technology I could imagine. Massive, holographic projection screens. Not for tactical displays, but for propaganda. We started looping old, corrupted historical data from the early years of the Imperium, specifically the distorted memories of the creature's namesake. Blaring speeches, ludicrous promises, grandiose claims of making things great. It worked. When the Hulk came lumbering back, drawn by the noise and the spectacle, he stopped dead. He saw his own distorted, colossal face plastered across the screens, roaring obsolete slogans. It was like seeing his reflection magnified 1,000 times. He was captivated. His fury paused, replaced by that grotesque, self-satisfied smirk. That was my cue. I grabbed the Voxcaster, cranked the volume to skull-shattering levels, and addressed the beast. "You there!" I yelled, my voice amplified 1,000,000 times, slicing through the noise. "You pathetic chaos spawn, you call that winning? Anyone can smash things. A child with a heavy boot can smash things. You are a mockery, a failure. You want victory? Show me you can build something. Show me you can make this galaxy great again." That did it. The look on his face shifted from self-satisfaction to pure, explosive rage. You could feel the heat coming off him. His roars were no longer just noise. They were an insult to the fabric of reality itself. He started tearing through the plaza with renewed, unfocused fury. But that was the second part of the trap. As he charged, the guardsmen, positioned in carefully selected ruins, activated the status fields and sonic emitters. They didn't stop him, of course. Nothing could. But they slowed him, threw his balance off, and more importantly, they disoriented his already limited, spectacle-driven mind. And that's when Jurgen, bless his stinking soul, tossed the nunks. Some nasty, acidic chemical warfare grenades I salvaged. They wouldn't hurt the demon, but they burned, they stung, they were a distraction, a beautiful, terrible distraction. Then I faced him, just me. Bolt pistol in one hand, ready to fire, power sword singing in the other. I didn't engage him in a slugging match. I'm a commissar, not a space marine. I dodged, I ducked, I weaved, I kept talking. Empty threats, empty promises. You're all mouth and no muscle for real work. Every taunt was a feint. Every insult was a step toward my real target, a derelict, half-melted, highly unstable Imperial teleportation projector. It was a ticking time bomb of pure, volatile warp energy. I kept leading him. He was blind with fury, aiming his colossal fists at my rapidly retreating figure. I pulled off a final desperation roll beneath a swipe that took the roof off a nearby hab block. And there he was, right next to the teleporter. "You can't even hit a single target," I screamed, and he took the bait. The last swing was purely instinctual, a furious, desperate attempt to silence the irritant. His fist, the size of a land raider, connected with the volatile casing of the teleporter. The resulting explosion wasn't just physical. It was a screaming torrent of warp energy. The corrupted, chaotic nature of the Hulk resonated with the unstable tech, and in a flash of blinding green light, he was gone, vanished, teleported, perhaps disintegrated, or maybe just thrown into a darker corner of the immaterium. I stood there, covered in dust and debris, watching the green light fade. The air was silent for the first time in days. I knew then he wasn't dead. You can't truly kill that level of pure, self-serving vanity. You can only relocate it. I turned to Jurgen, who was, as usual, smelling faintly of old socks and salvation. "Well, Sergeant," I muttered, sheathing my sword, "time to file the report. And for the Emperor's sake, burn everything that touched him. I don't want anyone thinking that thing can stage a comeback." And that, my friends, is how I won the war against the green abomination. Not with firepower, but with sheer, unadulterated political satire. A win for the Imperium, another bizarre tale from my memoirs, and a deep-seated fear that somewhere out there, a new world is about to face the ultimate loud-mouthed embodiment of chaos. They call it superior tactics. I call it luck and a good sergeant. Now, get me a recalf.